Listen up, Agent. The following briefing is brought to you by From the Helicarrier, your #1 news source for Marvel's Avengers Alliance, and the Marvel Avengers Alliance Wikipedia. Welcome back, Agent. This time around, your briefing is going to be a little bit different than normal. The enhance effects are fairly simple in their nature because, unlike the psychic attacks or the attrition abilities, they're all about amplifying a single type of attack or providing a bonus of some kind. This doesn't really make them any less desirable to use in battle, but unlike previous effects we've gone over, they're related more by what they do instead of how well they work together. Because of this, we'll be listing most of the effects we're going to be talking about and only giving the barest of rundowns. Going over the debuff effects first, Lock On and Wide Open are the two most common effects you'll see. Granting increased damage for range attacks and melee attacks respectively, these effects are not only on a great deal of heroes, but can also be given to just about any hero available through augmented ISOs. Tenderize, which gives all slashing attacks bonus damage, isn't anywhere near as common, but can be useful when paired up with the Wide Open buff since most slashing attacks also tend to be melee attacks. Target Focus, the least common and perhaps least used of the debuffs, makes it so that any single target attack hits harder than the normal enhance effects at the price of being used up and needing to be applied again after the attack is over. Enhance effects also house a surprisingly good amount of buffs within its group, which is odd considering the lack of any real widespread buffing abilities since almost the start of these briefings. Probably the most effective, though the least often seen, is the Blessing effect, which increases all healing done and makes it nigh impossible to kill someone outside of one-shotting them. Wind Up and Breakthrough are often seen together on a lot of heroes, usually the more powerhouse ones, and they're all about amping damage. Epiphany, which does the same effect as Breakthrough, is used by the more intelligent characters. Finally, Perfect Shot is very rarely seen, but can still lead to some good damage considering it makes ranged attacks stronger. It's as we get to the last 4 effects, Agent, that we return to our normal style of analysis. The following effects are going to be a little bit more in-depth, so it's best to know what you're getting into. Pain is more than just a sensation, as the debuff here can ruin just about anyone's day. Stacking 3 times, the effect will amplify all damage done by 8% for each stack for a 24% increase in damage when maxed out. Because of its stacking nature, the effect is most often seen on heroes who can get a lot of attacks in a fight. Pain Train is a sister effect, stacking pain like the original ability, but also doing more, adding in more effects when used on a target with a certain type of debuff. Once Pain is in place, the train will continue on and apply Exposed to your foe, and follow up with the Wide Open effect. As you can guess, Pain Train is almost entirely employed by melee-focused heroes. Finishing off this briefing with the less traditional enhance effects, Flanking is probably the best of these abilities we'll be going over and the one that I, personally, try to use above all else. With this effect on your target, all heroes will act as if they had the Scrapper class bonus, getting in an extra attack on your enemy. For most heroes, they'll follow up with their first skill, but occasionally you'll find a hero who'll use their second skill instead. Regardless, this effect is fantastic to use for the fact that you'll be doubling all the effects on these skills, making it easier to stack up abilities. It should be noted that a winded fighter cannot benefit from Flanked. Fumbling, the counterpart to Flanking, is in some ways just as good as Flanking and in other ways much worse. Causing your heroes to act like infiltrators, countering attacks after being attacked, it's best only used against enemies that you know have single target attacks, as these are the only moves that Fumbling will work with. What's more is that Fumbling is determined by your enemy, which means that you're relying on them to make a bad move and let you get a powerful counterattack in, versus you just smacking them around in the face. It's just not as reliable in the grand scheme of things, especially considering that off balance also makes it that much harder to work well, as it removes any counterattack you might be able to do. When we come back next time, we're going to be presenting something special. A fellow agent had asked for a briefing going over the different kinds of items you'll often get throughout your battles, showing which ones are the best to use. So when we return, we'll go over the useful things in your inventory that you might have left gathering cobwebs.